Hello friends, this is Fox Nival Studios. Today we are here with new chapter What if Naruto was in the Hogwarts? Now let's start the chapter 1, the aftermath of the battle. Harry looked at the devastation that surrounded him. The Hogwarts grounds were surrounded with the bodies of Hogwarts defenders and Death Eaters alike. He turned to his left and he saw the ruined Quidditch pitch and the destroyed castle. Dazed, he started walking around hoping for more survivors. Flashback. Harry looked at Voldemort. The Dark Lord was surrounded by his top lieutenants Bellatrix Lestrange and Lucius Malfoy. Next to Harry were Draco Malfoy, Hermione Granger and Ginny Weasley. Not long ago Ron had been killed by Dolohov. Now these 7 were the only survivors from both sides. "Oh, what are you going to do now, little baby Potter?" The Dark Witch laughed maniacally. "Draco, how could you betray me like that?" asked Lucius. "You are my son." "I didn't betray you, father. You betrayed the Malfoy named Draco," said a Malfoy. "Bows to no one. Especially to some half-blood born from a Muggle and a Squib." The blonde boy finished to the rage of his father and Lord Voldemort. "You dare speak lies, nephew." Bellatrix rages. "They aren't lies," Harry stated as he blocked a dark curse heading toward Draco. "Potter, leave me." "My father," Draco said. "Bellatrix is for us," then said Ginny. "Understood. But if one of you wins their duels, if you are able, you go and help the others. Bellatrix isn't to be underestimated, girls." "Draco, you know what buttons to push with you, father." After that, Draco, Hermione and Ginny nodded and separated to fight against their respectful opponents. The 3 duels were fierce and savage. Harry saw with his peripheral vision Ginny falling to a blood-boiling curse, and not long after that Draco joined Hermione in the fight against his aunt after he managed to kill his father. Lucius had lost his focus after one-to-many taunts by his son and had fell to a dark curse. His attention returned to the Dark Lord and he dodged a withering curse and sent one back. Not long after that he managed to use a mistake made by Voldemort, and with a well-placed piercing hex, he pierced his heart. Voldemort stood there for a moment before his body fell. Now only Bella Bitch was left. Flashback ends. Harry started running as he saw Draco and Hermione bodies next to Bellatrix's corpse. He fell next to his friends and he looked for a pulse, but unfortunately there was none. He saw with the corner of his eye a movement and turned toward his right and leveled his wand toward the intruder. But then his tension eased and a relieved smile appeared as he saw his familiar, a black Nindu. Not long after Hedwig's death and before their ministry storm out for the Horcrux locket, he had snuck out in Diagon Alley and he had found the small Nindu in a small cage in a dark and shady pet store on the border between Diagon Alley and Nocturne Alley. His magic had pulled him toward the back and had found the small black leopard in a cage too small even to lay comfortably. He had right away paid the asked price and had freed the small at the time cat. Even the owner did not know the nature of the cat that he had and had sold it as a mundane leopard, and Harry had managed to buy it for only 10 galleons. "Jade, I am so happy that you have survived." Harry smiled with tears in his eyes and he opened his arms and the young cat jumped in them and started purring. "Everyone is dead. Jade, we are the only ones alive." Jade froze and started growling and positioned himself between Harry and something in front. The boy started to ask what was happening, but he stopped as he saw a figure materializing in front of him. "Master," the figure said. "You are Death, right?" Harry said. "Yes. All of this, was it necessary?" Harry showed the devastation around him. "No, but unfortunately it happened." "What now? What will happen to me?" A new figure appeared next to Death. It was a woman dressed in Asian clothes. "Hello, Harry," said the woman. "My name is Amaterasu. We the gods have a proposition for you and we hope that you'll accept it." "What kind of proposition?" asked the teen. "We'll send you in a world where ninja live and thrive. Of course you'll not be alone. Your companion will join you." She gestured toward Jade. "In this world there is no magic. Instead, at this place there is chakra. There are also 9 beasts there, 9 animals, that are the strongest entities in this land. These 9 animals are tailed beasts, from the one-tailed tanuki, to the strongest among them the 9-tailed fox, the kyubi. As my luck is, I'll meet one for sure," Harry murmured. "If I accept, what is the catch?" "You'll be de-aged to your 5-years-old body," said the goddess. "You'll appear at the time and place where you'll do the most good. However, you'll not be defenseless," she continued. "You'll have moderate knowledge of few ninja techniques, also known as jutsu, and the base knowledge of using a sword. I personally will give you 2 eggs from which 2 opposite creatures that you have faced before will hatch." "Thank you," Harry said. "In apology for what happened here, I'll also give you a boon." "Master," said Death, "once and only once you'll be able to prevent the death of a person." Thank you, said Harry, but how? You'll know the time and place instinctively, master, but remember, once and only once, I am bound by rules and I cannot break them. I appreciate it, Death, the boy said. Are you ready? Amaterasu asked. Ye. But he stopped as he saw movement, and to his relief Draco and Hermione awoke. We are alive. We are alive, Draco, Hermione shouted and hugged her boyfriend. Hermione, Draco, they heard a voice and turned toward it and saw the face of Harry, and the three of them hugged. Harry, how is that? Hermione asked the boy as she pointed toward the man and a woman. Not long after that, Draco and Hermione were all caught out with the explanation and looked at Harry with indecision. The boy smiled and said, It's okay, Hermione, you and Draco have a life here. Your parents and Draco mother are alive and they need you. Also, you'll be able to live a normal life whenever you decide, be in England, be in France, or whenever else. Just promise me that you'll be happy and do the things that you'll love to do. Oh, Harry, Hermione sobbed. Potter, are you sure? Draco asked. I'll not lie. That I would like for you to go with me, Harry started. However, it will be selfish of me. He closed his eyes and turned his head and looked at the gods. Do it, send me there before I regret it. A vortex opened behind him and Harry turned toward the light, thus missing the look that Draco and Hermione passed between each other. Jade was the first who went through and Harry moved toward it but was stopped by two hands on his shoulders. He turned and he saw his two friends nodding, their eyes blazing with unsaid resolve. Then they moved as one toward the light and the three teenagers were engulfed in the vortex, never to be seen again on Earth. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, looked around the devastation that surrounded him. This was supposed to be the most important day of his life, the day when his son was going to be born and everything was supposed to be perfect. His wife Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, the Kuibi. Knowing that Kushina's seal would be at its most vulnerable during the birth, everyone participating and helping in it knew what to do during the event. The birth had passed without a problem and he had managed to contain the beast. However, a masked enemy had killed the wife of the third Hokage and taken his newborn son hostage and made him choose between his life and guarding the seal by means of an explosive tag on the baby blanket. He had managed to save his son in the nick of time. However, this distraction was enough and the masked man had kidnapped Kushina and freed the Kyuubi. Being an Uzumaki, his wife had survived the forced extraction. However, she had lost a lot of blood and was very weak. The young father knew what to do as he only had one choice. He had to seal the fox again. Unfortunately, his wife was too weak to survive the sealing and the only possible candidate was his newborn son, Naruto. Hating himself for what he had to do, he teleported to the hideout and took his family before returning to the meadow where the fox was rampaging. Kushina, how are you feeling? Minato asked. Minato, seal the fox in me, said his wife weakly. You are not strong enough, he said with regret, and saw how her eyes grew with understanding. No. Naruto, she took her son close to her. It is the only way. Minato closed his eyes. How? Her voice trembled. The death dog seal, he said. No, you'll die, she screamed, scared. It's the father's job to protect his family. I wish that I would see him grow. He started doing the signs for the jutsu as the Kyuubi turned and saw them, before it was restrained with golden chains. Minato looked toward Kushina and saw to his surprise that the chains weren't coming from her, but from a small girl, no more than 5 years old, which was surrounded by two boys, one blonde, the other black-haired, and the biggest cat he had ever seen. Minato finished with the signs and the Shinigami appeared behind him. Why do you summon me, mortal? The apparition asked. I need you power, Lord Shinigami, to seal the 9 tails, Minato stated. You know my payment, the spirit said. Yes, my soul, the young man said, sorrowful. Stop! A new voice was heard and Minato saw the young black-haired boy come closer to him, and to his horror the death god turned toward the boy. You aren't going to take him, said the boy. Minato and Kushina looked at the Shinigami and saw the specter nodding toward the boy before looking toward the great beast and plunging his see-through arm in the Kyuubi and pulling the struggling fox toward the altar where Naruto laid. There was a blinding light, and when Minato and Kushina opened their eyes, a seal had appeared on Naruto's abdomen. Minato knew what was coming next and prepared himself, but then. My promise to you and your family is complete, child, the death god spoke as he looked at the black-haired boy. Yes, and I thank you, the child said as he bowed to the apparition before the specter faded away. Just then, the third Hokage arrived at the clearing and looked at its occupants. Minato stood next to a tired Kushina who was holding a small baby which had a glowing seal on its belly. His sight then moved toward the other end of the clearing where 3 small kids and a huge leopard stood. All of the children's clothes were ripped S&D. He observed how one of the boys gently put his arms on the girl and a soft glow encircled them, and the 3 adults observed how some of her most serious cuts and bruises disappeared. The boy then moved toward his friend and the same thing was repeated. As the light disappeared, the boy became visibly tired. The 3 adults enhanced their hearing with chakra and heard the young girl scolding the black-haired boy. "Jade, you shouldn't have done that, it's okay Mia. Someday me and Mia will wake up prematurely gray, because of you," ranted the blonde-haired boy. "Gee Ryu. I feel so loved." As he said that, the black-haired boy closed and he started to fell but was caught by Minato to the surprise of both children and the cat. Jade, both of his companions screamed and the cat started growling. Minato knew that for now he was safe from attack. The children were exhausted and the cat wouldn't attack him as he wasn't going to risk further injuries to the child in his arms. Then Kushina, holding Naruto, approached the kids. She was exhausted from the events of the night and was barely holding on. The little girl saw that and to both cages' surprised she took out a vial full with a pearly liquid. She looked with uncertainty between the boy in Minato's arms and the woman holding the baby. Decision made, she cautiously approached Kushina and held the vial toward her. The third and Minato tensed as she said, "Please drink this." "What is this?" asked Kushina. She could feel her forces leaving her. The extraction had taken a toll from her. "Something that should start the healing process," said the girl. "Kushina." Sarutobi started to say. "That blonde guy is holding our friend," the blonde boy said as he gestured Minato. "Do you really think we'll risk his safety?" Minato saw the sense in this. "Then what is it?" he said suspiciously. "A very potent healing aid," the girl said, "as we have only one left for now and your wife needs it more," the girl said. "What will it do?" the third asked. "It will give her strength and if there is internal bleeding it will jump-start the healing process," the boy said. Minato looked carefully as Kushina drank the substance and to surprise to all the adults her color became more healthy and some of her strength returned. "What was that?" she asked, amazed. "The most powerful healing substance that we knew," said the boy. "Then why didn't you give it to your friend?" the third asked. "We could have, but if we have done this, he would have been mad at us, when there was someone that needed it more," the girl said. "Understood. Now Kushina." Minato looked at her. "Now you and the kids are going to the hospital. Naruto needs to be checked by Tsunade as well as you, and the boy in my arms is also hurt." "One more question," said the third. "Who are you 3? Konoha Hospital." Harry felt tired as his mind tried to wake up. After few attempts he finally managed to wake up. He looked around and sighed as he found himself in a hospital, groaned and turned as he heard a chuckled and purring next to him and saw Draco and Hermione sitting in a chair with Jade next to them and purring as he saw his owner awake. "Hey, Harry," Mione said. "Hi, guys, and it's Jade now," he said with a smile. "How long?" 3 days, Draco said. "You tired yourself out. You used a lot of energy." "Oh, what is the plan then, Mia? What have you learned?" He looked at Mia as he scratched Jade behind the ears. "The blonde guy and the older one are the cages of the village. The blonde is Minato Namikaze," started Draco. "The yellow flash," Jade said. "And the old one?" Sarutobi, Mia said. "The god of shinobi," Jade exhaled. "Perfect. Then soon we'll be seriously grilled. Again the plan, Mia? We are orphans from Mist. Our parents were killed by the Mizukage men because they sheltered someone with a Kake Genkai because they didn't approved of his politics of bloodline purged. We were only 3 at the time. So we ran. Not long after that you found a leopard cub which bonded to you. We unlocked our chakra and in one attack I panicked and chains erupted from my back, and we know that we must leave Mist, otherwise we would have been eventually been captured and killed. So we escaped and we traveled the elemental nations and we managed to pick a thing or two. We came in Konoha a day or 2 before the fox attack, but we were weary of showing ourselves as we entered illegally in the village. The fox appeared toward our hiding place and we joined the battle," Mia said. "Now how to explain what happened with the death god?" asked Draco. "Our family was closely associated with the death god. One day the death god took someone whose time wasn't done. To make up for this, he promised that one time we could prevent the death of someone in payment for this mistake. Our ancestor knew the power of this gift and had decided not to use it and made some rules. These rules were: 1. Never to use it for selfish reasons. 2. To look for someone using the death god sealing seal. 3. The user should have something to live for and be in the prime of his life. Point 4. If the one using the ritual was old, then to leave it as he is sure of his decision and to respect it. Jade said. I am impressed. Draco said. That covers everything, so we are ready for their interrogation and just in time as both of them and the woman are coming. Minato cautiously opened the door and looked inside and smiled as he saw that finally the boy had awoken. The three children were laughing and the giant cat was purring contently as it was scratched behind the ears by the boy on the bed. He entered the room and was followed by Sarutobi and Kushina. Hello, he said. How are you feeling? Good, Lord Hokage. I have replenished some of my energy. At least enough to don't keel over by anything stupid. At that the blonde-haired boy snorted. As if. I feel the love, Ryu said the boy. So who are you three? Asked the third. I am Mia, and these are my brothers Ryu and Jade, said the girl. We are orphans from Mist. How did you become orphans? Asked Sarutobi. Our parents didn't agree with the bloodline purges. They hid someone in our house. Unfortunately, the Mizukage found out and came personally and killed our parents and the member of that clan. We would have died also, but our parents hid us in a cave and didn't permit us to come in the house while they were hiding the man. They wanted us to live if by any chance they were found, Mia said. How old? Started Kushina. We were 3 at the time, said Ryu. We were living isolated from everybody, Jade said, and with good reason. Our parents suspected that one of us may develop chakra chains. They were right, Mia barely said. How come? Kushina asked gently. One day we were attacked by bandits. Ryu and Jade were down and Shade was nowhere to be seen. They approached me. The little girl closed her eyes and were speaking that they would use me. The heart of the adults constructed. They had a good idea what the bandits meant. I got scared. The next thing I knew, they were immobilized by chakra chains coming out from me, and Shade was ripping them with his claws and crushing their heads with his teeth. How old are you? Asked Minato. We are 5 now, said Jade. How did you learn your ninja techniques? You are too young, asked Sarutobi. As we were alone, stealth meant survivor, so we perfected it. We managed to sneak in a lot of hidden villages and observed their training, Ryu said. We remembered the hand signs and the name of the jutsus and we started practicing. For some we didn't have the chakra, but for the ones that we had, we perfected them. Our chakra control is pretty good. What are your skills? Minato asked. All of us know some basic medical jutsu, as any one of us may be hurt. However, I am more proficient than my brothers, the girl said. I am good with senbons and light ninja tools, said Ryu. And I am good with elemental manipulation, said Jade. And with Shade, as he chose you as his partner, said Mia. That is another question. What kind of animal is your cat? Asked Kushina. Shade is a black leopard, said Jade, unwilling to disclose more about his familiar. He is not our only animal companion, said Mia. Truly? Where are the others? One hasn't hatched yet, said Ryu, but when it hatches, he'll most likely bond with Jade. And the other is a phoenix, that is bonded to Mia. A what? Asked Kushina. A firebird, which has healing tears. They are the strongest known substance in the world and can heal even the deadliest of poisons. So the liquid that I drank? Kushina asked. Phoenix tears, Mia confirmed. Where is that bird now? Asked Sarutobi. From time to time, the phoenix has what is known as a burning day. The day of the attack was one such day, so it will take time before he is fully grown again. Mia gently opened her cloak and took from its pocket a small chick with red and gold down feathers. Everyone meet Flare. Final question. The Shinigami. How I am alive? He just looked at you and nodded. Asked Minato. This is due to our family relation with the death god, said Jade. To everyone's surprise, long ago the Shinigami took someone whose time wasn't up yet. To make for that, he promised our ancestor whose love was taken that our family will have the chance of preventing the death of someone whose time wasn't come yet in payment for the life taken before its time by the death god. The adults listened very careful and awed. Our ancestor knew the power of this gift and made some rules. He made them because he didn't want to be used for selfish reasons. Only when all of these rules were present, this boon could be used. And these rules were? Sarutobi asked. 1. Never to use it for selfish reasons. 2. To look for someone using the death god sealing seal. 3. The user should have something to live for and be in the prime of his life. Point 4. If the one using the ritual was old, then to leave it as he is sure of his decision and to respect it. Jade continued. Explain these rules, please, asked Kushina. Never use it for selfish reasons. Which means that if a lover or a child has died, the person wouldn't be able to use it, Mia said. While cruel, it makes sense. Ryu said our judgment is clouded by the pain and we wouldn't think straight. To look for someone using the death god seal. Mia continue. It means that this person is at his most desperate to use such a seal. Minato nodded. He has been at that point. The used should have something to live for. Jade said. Why did he use it? To save somebody, like his family, or for selfish reasons? Also how this will affect the ones left behind by his actions. For example, Lord Fourth. Minato looked at him. You have just become a father. You had so much in front of you that you would have missed. Minato knew that your reasons weren't selfish and your time hasn't come yet. And the fourth? Asked Sarutobi. If I understand correctly, if the user of the seal is at the zenith of his life, for example I have been using it. Minato, you know that if you hadn't been started it, then I would have summoned the death god. We wouldn't have stopped it. Jade said. You were sure of your decision and it wouldn't be right to deny you that. Thank you, Sarutobi said with a smile. Now how did you came to Konoha? We snuck into the village 2 days before. We had planned to replenish our supplies and rest before leaving the village, said Mia, but then the attack happened. Ryu finished. Understood. We'll leave you now to rest more. Thank you for clearing this up. Minato home. Minato looked at Kushina and smiled as she saw her cradling Naruto. She put the baby to sleep and turned toward her husband. Minato, they are only 5 years old, she said, thinking of the trio currently in the hospital. I was thinking, we live in a big house which is close to the forest, so their cat will have a lot of space. Furthermore, they are related to me as the chakra chains are Uzumaki traits. Maybe we could propose to them to come and live with us? Maybe, Minato said with a smile. The hospital. A dark presence was creeping in the hospital. The snake Sanin had heard about the 3 children, especially the black-haired one, and was seething inside. If these children haven't interfered, then he would have been the 5th Hokage. Maybe, just maybe, he could get his revenge. After all, he was in the market for a new host. Yes, the black-haired boy would do. He slowly opened the door of the room and saw the sleeping children. Nevertheless, he performed the requirement signs for a sleeping jutsu. He waited a minute or two, entered, disconnected the boy from the machines and disappeared from the room. It was morning and Minato was going to the trio room to see how they were doing and to propose if they wanted to move with them. However, he noticed a big commotion the closer he came to their room. He accelerated his pace and started running as he heard the angry roar of the leopard. He opened the door fast and met with the panicked eyes of Ryu and Mia. However, Jade wasn't in the room. What? He started. We woke up and he wasn't there. We thought that he was gone to the bathroom. But he didn't come after time. Furthermore, Jade smelled that someone was here during the night. Do you know who? Minato asked. No, it could have been a doctor, coming to check on him, Ryu said. Don't worry, kids, we'll find him, Minato said and closed his eyes. Orochimaru Lab. The snake Sanin looked at the small boy that he had kidnapped from the hospital and smiled. The boy was perfect for his experiments and maybe in the long run as a new body. He came closer to the bed the boy was in and took a syringe and drew some blood from the child. Then he reapplied the sleeping jutsu and sat in front of the microscope and put on a slide a little of the child blood and the blood of an Uchiha that he had stolen from the hospital some time ago. The Sanin had made multiple experiments trying to combine the blood with kidnapped children, as his goal was at the end to have a body that will be able to copy techniques like Kakashi Hatate, but without the chakra drawbacks. His crowning achievement for now was the child that had the first Hokage Mokuton ability, but if he could replicate the Sharingan in someone not of the Uchiha clan, then the possibilities were endless. His attention returned to the slide and to his disbelief he saw the 2 different blood types merging. There was no sign of coagulation or rejection from the Uchiha blood. Barely containing his excitement, Orochimaru took the slide and put it into the DNA machine analyzer and starting it. 2 hours later the results were in his trembling hands and his sinister laugh echoed in the underground laboratory. On the page there was 2 words. Merging success. Now he only needed to manipulate the ocular cells in such a way to guarantee a Sharingan awakening. 2 days later Minato was at his wit's end. 4 days ago there was a break in the hospital and Jade, the small black-haired boy, was kidnapped. His brother and sister as well as the cat were right away moved to his house and he had dispatched his best Anbu and even Kakashi to search for the child, however to no avail and success. His eyes looked tiredly at the opening door and he greeted the third as he entered the office. Hey, Minato, any success? Sarutobi asked. No, and that worries me as I was hoping that he may still be in the village. However, in all the chaos, I am scared that he was taken out. Still there is something that is bugging me, said the young man. Oh, and what is it? Sarutobi asked. Why only Jade was taken? Minato answered. I don't follow. The kidnapping was at night and the person responsible looked to have a plan as he cast sleeping jutsu on the Anbu in front of the room according to the report of the next shift that replaced them. This make me believe that he cast it in the room with the children, as I am sure that otherwise the leopard would have woken up and jumped on the kidnapper and made such a noise that even the guards outside of the hospital would have come and investigate. So the kidnapper was undisturbed as he took the boy, Sarutobi said. Yes. So why only him? Why not the girl or all of them? We know that Mia has the Uzumaki chains which make her valuable, and the boys, while strong, don't appear to have a bloodline limit, Minato said. Don't worry Minato, we will find him, Sarutobi said. Meanwhile in the lab, Jade opened his eyes and tried to move his hands and legs but was unable. Panicked, he looked around and saw that he was in some kind of laboratory and was chained to a metal table. Then his peripheral vision captured movement and he turned his head toward it, and from the shadows appeared a slender man. The man had long black hair, pale skin, violet makeup around his yellow eyes, who in fact were slitted like a snake. Welcome to the world once again, the voice of the man was like a hiss. Who are you and where am I? The boy said without fear. I am Orochimaru, and you are a special guest of mine, the man said. So what are your plans for me? Jade answered. You have the immense honor to aid me in an experiment. At that the man showed a syringe full with blood. Prepare yourself as it will hurt. Then the man plunged the needle of the syringe in his arm and the Uchiha blood entered the kidnapped child bloodstream. Orochimaru had made the hand signs to lift the jutsu and saw that the child stirred and awoke. Then to his immense surprise he calmly asked who he was, and there was no terror or recognition regarding his name. He even expected some scream when he told him his role in what was to follow, but he was disappointed. He took the hand of the child and entered the Uchiha blood into the boy vein, and soon he wasn't disappointed as the boy started screaming as his DNA was rewritten. Hopefully he would survive and the first artificial Uchiha would be born. Jade fell as if his blood was boiling. The Voldemort wannabe had injected him with foreign blood and he felt the magic in his blood absorbing it and merging the foreign blood with his own. The pain was 1,000 times worse than the Crucio and he wanted it to end, especially in his eyes as it felt like they were melting and regrowing. Soon the pain ended and the only thing left was the trembling of his body as it was rocketed by spasms. Orochimaru smiled as he looked at the whimpering child in front of him, as he looked at the eyes and saw for a moment the activated Sharingan before it disappeared and the green eyes of the child returned. That was good. It looked that there wasn't going to be a rejection, however it was too early to tell. Then something happened that he didn't account for. The skin of the child started emitting a light and then it erupted and then dissipated. Not having seen anything like this, the snake Sannin dismissed it as unimportant, believing that this was the end result of the merge. Oh, how wrong was he? With Minato, it was the following day after the talk with Sarutobi, and Minato had decided to do something different as the searches weren't getting results. So that is why today he was following the black leopard. The cat was following what appeared to be an invisible trace that led into the forest surrounding Konoha. Sometimes Jade was stopping and closing his eyes for a long time, before changing direction, but always being mindful of Minato. The Hokage looked at the sun and came to the conclusion that this chase has gone for around 6 hours, as he had left the house at 9 today. Debating with himself whatever or not to call it a day and try something else tomorrow, he noticed that the leopard had stopped and laid on the ground. Curious about its behavior, he put his hand on the ground and felt them, tremors. Then Jade jumped from his position on the ground and started running toward the bushes as Minato followed. Cat and man run for some time until they arrived at jagged rocks and the leopard entered them. Minato took out his kunai and followed him, and after some time he arrived at a door in the rock. He saw the cat attacking the door, and to his immense surprise the claws ripped through the door like it was made of butter, and he followed the animal inside as painful scream echoed in the cave. With Orochimaru, the snake Sannin looked at the boy as he finally had stopped trembling and started to approach him when to his horror his arm disappeared into the jaws of the biggest cat he had ever seen. Even the tigers in the Forest of Death looked to be slightly big cats, but this was a leopard. Leopards never grew to such sizes. His brain finally reacted to the pain receptors in his arm and he screamed. He tried to take out his arm from the mouth of the beast, but to his horror the teeth of the creature were glistening with something. His pain-added brain supplied him with the answer. Poison. Then to his horror he saw the face of the man following the cat Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. Minato arrived at what appeared to be a laboratory and saw to his horror Shade biting on the hand of a ninja. Then the man lifted his head and he saw the snake Sannin. He started walking toward him when he heard a barely audible whimper and his eyes turned toward a metal table and saw to his horror the body of a child. He ran next to the boy and broke the chains that were holding the child on the table. Then his eyes widened as he saw the green eyes of the boy who he was searching for. He heard crunching noises and his eyes returned toward the leopard who had ripped the Sannin arm and had its claws on the ninja chest. The cat had also the other arm of the snake charmer in his mouth and had turned its head in such a way that its eyes were looking at Minato as waiting for a signal. The young Hokage looked around the room and saw the many tubes in which there were floating corpses. Then his eyes returned to the still whimpering Jade. Very careful, he took the boy in his arms and nodded to the leopard. There was another crunching sound and he saw Orochimaru thoracic cage cave in as 6 inches claws pierced his heart. Then for good measure, the leopard bit on the neck of the snake Sannin and the light finally left the kidnapper eyes. Minato had a choice to make now. He either could live now and return later with some ninjas or he could quickly search the lab, take the most important things and return Jade to Kushina. Both choices had their pros and cons. I can wait a little while the voice from his arms was heard. What? Minato said without understanding. I can wait a while. You don't know if this guy was working alone. With those words from the child, Minato stopped. What if while you are bringing me to first aid, his accomplice, if he has any, come and either destroys the place or take everything that may or may not incriminate him? The snake guy called me an experiment, so I don't believe that I was the first. So please, I can wait, but take everything that you can. Jade said, and finally exhaustion won and he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Minato smiled at the boy in his arms and gently he crossed his arms before 3 shadow clones appeared. Then without a word they started to copy the information and seal every document in the however was blocking the entry, as he knew the importance of everything in the room and that his little human may have been correct. Soon everything of importance was sealed in scrolls and 2 of the 3 clones disappeared. Minato suspected that Jade was right, that there may have been an accomplice, and ordered the last clone to transform and survey the entrance of the lab in the hope that somebody will come. He carefully moved as not to wake the small boy and he ran in front while Shade was covering his back. Night has already fast approaching and Kushina was getting worried. Minato had left with Shade in the early hours of the morning and he still hasn't come back. Furthermore, around 3 in the afternoon the ground had shook, which had made Mia and Ryu nervous. The boy and the girl have started to get frustrated with the inability of the Konoha ninjas to find their brother, and she could swear that they were thinking of going alone to find him, and relatively soon. Then Naruto started to cry and Mia went to see what the baby wanted, followed by the red-haired woman. The small girl entered the room and took the baby gently before passing it to his mother. "Are you all right?" Kushina asked. "No. Yes. I don't know," Mia answered. "I am worried about Jade and the fact that someone had managed to take him from the room." "I am sorry," said Kushina. "Even when we were traveling alone and we were sleeping, no one got past Shade, and now someone managed to do it," Mia said. "I am sure that Minato will find your brother," Kushina said. "It's been over a week," another voice was heard, and both Kushina and Mia turned to see Ryu, "and we are stuck here without a chance to go out and look out for him." "Everything will be okay," Kushina said and closed her eyes, praying that Minato came home with good news. Suddenly Ryu froze and then looked at Mia before turning and running toward the door and exiting the house and stopping at the edge of the forest. Kushina had followed the boy while holding Naruto, with Mia following her. The young woman with her enhanced hearing heard a rustling of the leaves in the night, and she gently gave Naruto to Mia and pulled out a kunai and positioned herself in front of the children. Then to her surprise Kakashi appeared next to her. "Minato asked me to look after you when he isn't here," the silver-haired boy said as an explanation, and then he uncovered his Sharingan and the Chidori illuminated the night. Suddenly the roar of a big cat was heard and Kushina noticed that both of the 5-year-olds relaxed and smiled. "Everything is okay. This is Shade," Ryu said for the benefit of the adults, and both teenager and woman relaxed and waited anxiously for Minato appearance and hopefully news about the missing boy. Minato was started to worry. He and Shade had managed to find Jade around 3 in the afternoon, and now it approached 8 at night and the boy in his hands hadn't stirred once since he had lost consciousness in the cursed lab. He made a sign to Shade and the leopard roared in order to warn Kushina that he was coming back. He finally exited the forest and smiled as he saw Kakashi and Kushina in front of the children. At least there was going to be good news tonight as he looked at the boy in his arms and saw the green eyes looking at the house before they closed once again and Jade returned to sleep. Kushina saw Minato exiting the forest and noticed that in his hands there was a small bundle. She also noticed that her husband looked at it before his gaze returned to her as he approached her. Minato. She started. Everything is okay. Jade found him, Minato said as he gently moved, and Kushina, Kakashi, Mia and Ryu saw the sleeping child. How? Where? Kushina started but was stopped by Minato. Not now, tomorrow, tonight is for the children, he said and entered the house followed by everyone. The young Hokage entered the house and then he gently entered the room that had been set aside for the young boy. He smiled as he saw the children entering the room and positioning themselves next to the wall. He then said, "Ryu, can you help me with Jade please?" "Sure, but for what?" asked the boy. "You see, I found your brother in a very cold place and I would like to bath him to warm him up. For now he is asleep, but I don't know if he will stay asleep, so I want for you to stay in the bathroom as I wash him. If he wakes up, you'll be able to calm him as he knows your voice and will know that he is safe. As I have no idea what has been done to him during his captivity, and I know that there was at least one man keeping him captive," Minato finished explaining. "Understood," said Ryu and looked at Mia with troubled eyes. "And what I can do?" asked Mia the Hokage. "Why don't you came with me and help me choose some warm clothes for Jade and help me make a chicken soup, as even if asleep me or Minato will be able to feed a cup to him. Kakashi, would you take care of Naruto? He is fed so you shouldn't have any problem." She turned toward the teen. Understood. At that the boy exited the room. Jade the leopard looked at Minato. "Go and wash yourself in the river, then go in front of the fire to warm yourself as you'll be sleeping in Jade bed tonight." At that Kushina looked at her husband. "If Jade wakes up, he may panic. Jade will be able to calm him." Understood. However, Jade at that the leopard looked at the wife of the fourth. "This is an exception. Now go." Minato smiled to Kushina as he saw her and Mia leaving the room. Then his attention turned to Ryu, who was wondering how to proceed. He knew that what will follow may not be good for the young boy, however he knew that if Jade awoke it was better if the blonde-haired boy was with him to calm the freed boy. "Ryu, can you bring me something to put Jade clothes in?" he asked the boy. "Why? There may be traces of what was done to him by his kidnapper," the Hokage answered. "Why not ask the man who took him? Jade killed him," Minato said. "But why? If he was left alive, he would have escaped and it would have been worse. He was considered for the Hokage position, but was passed over by his teacher for me," Minato explained. "I'll explain everything tomorrow." Understood. However, please tell us the truth. Even if we are young, don't try to shelter us. Otherwise, how would we be able to help Jade without understanding what was done to him?" Ryu stated. Understood, Minato stated while looking at the boy. Then he took the sleeping boy and entered the bathroom. It was 2 hours later and Minato was sitting in the living room cradling Naruto and looking at Kushina and Kakashi. Fortunately, Jade hasn't woken up during the bath, but he had woken up when a cup with hot soup was put in front of him and had managed to drink it before falling back to sleep while being cradled by Ryu and Mia from each side and Jade in his legs. "Minato." Kushina started. "Tomorrow, honey, tomorrow," Minato said. "Now I want to cradle you and Naruto," and not thinking of where and what he experienced when I found him. Understood. The Hokage office. Minato sat in his office. In front of him were Sarutobi, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Kushina. He knew that what he had to say would hurt them, but there wasn't any other way. "Yesterday, I managed to find Jade with the help of his leopard," Minato started. "This is good," Sarutobi said. "Yes. However, the one that kidnapped him was Orochimaru," he said while looking at Sarutobi. "No," the third said disbelievingly. "I found your student and Jade in a laboratory dedicated to human experiments," Minato said with barely contained fury. "Are you sure?" Tsunade asked faintly. "The corpses in the tubes around the walls suggest that, as well as notebooks that I found there," the fourth stated. "What happened to my student?" asked Sarutobi. "He was killed by Jade," Minato said. "Who?" Jiraiya asked. "The kidnapped boy leopard." Tsunade. "Yes, Minato." "Please, can you come to our house and examine the boy there?" Minato said. "Yes, but wouldn't be better if he goes to the hospital?" Tsunade asked. "No, this is what started it all." Kushina jumped and looked at them. "Kushina is right," Minato nodded. "Furthermore, his brother and sister aren't permitting him to be moved and I agree with them." "But they are just 5 years old," Sarutobi said. Still they trust us and all will not break their trust. Minato House. Jade woke up gently and looked around. His last memory was of him telling Minato to look around the laboratory. But wait. This wasn't right. Someone had given him a cup of soup to drink and then nothing. He turned toward the open door and saw some light. He carefully got up and started to walk toward the corridor. However, he stopped as he heard breathing and saw Jade sleeping in the corner. He smiled and went to him. The ninja felt someone touching him and quickly opened his eyes and saw to his delight the bright eyes of his bonded. He jumped and started licking him. Kushina turned her head toward the bedrooms and smiled as he heard a child laugh coming from the corridor that led to the bedroom, and soon everyone saw the leopard coming up and on it sat the boy. "Jade, are you okay?" asked Mia. "Yes, I am with you now." Then he turned toward Kushina and Minato. "Thank you for saving me." "Of course, child." Kushina smiled. "Jade, can you tell us what happened?" Minato asked. "But what kind of leopard is this one?" "Why are you asking?" Ryu asked. "Well, he busted through a steel door like it was made of butter," asked Minato. Jade looked at Mia and Ryu and were debating with themselves whether or not to tell the two ninjas the truth. Minato and Kushina saw the children looking at each other and then nodding before Jade turning toward them. "We are going to tell you the truth," said Jade. "What?" asked Minato and Kushina disbelievingly. "It isn't dangerous for you, village," said Ryu. "However, this is our history and who we are. Please don't interrupt us as it is hard enough to tell it once," asked Mia. "Understood," Kushina said, and Minato nodded. "First off, we come from a different world," Ryu said. Jade's name was Harry, Mia was Hermione, and my name was actually Draco, which is the name for the dragon constellation. "Ryu means dragon," Kushina said. "Yes," Mia said. "You see, in our world there is no chakra, but magic. We even hone our skills in magic schools from 11 to 17 years old. 40 years ago a powerful dark wizard emerged. He was hell-bent on power, immortality and domination. You see, our society or wizards is divided in 3 branches. The pure bloods, which Ryu is a member, the first generation or muggleborns, which Mia is a member, and the half-blood, which I am a member," Jade said. "Pure bloods means that you have wizards for at least 4 generations," Ryu explained, meaning grandparents from both sides and parents. Muggleborn or first generations don't have magical blood in neither their grandparents or parents. So they are the first with magic, Minato concluded. "Yes," Ryu said. "Then you have the half-bloods whose parents are either a muggleborn and a pureblood, or muggle and either a half-blood, pureblood or a muggle, or finally be. A muggle is a person without magic," explained Jade. "So to return to the explanation," Jade said, "so this wizard chose the name Lord Voldemort and was terrorizing the country magical and muggles. This wizard was a descendant from an old line who was able to speak the snake language. The wizard from which he was descendant with 3 others, another man and 2 women, formed our school," Mia said. "Ravenclaw, whose symbol was an eagle and valued intelligence, Hufflepuff, who valued loyalty and symbol was a badger. Then you have the men Gryffindor, who valued bravery and symbol was a lion. Mia and I were from his house, and finally Slytherin, who valued cunning and his symbol was a snake." "I was a member of the house," said Ryu. "Wait. If your school accept children between the age of 11 and 17, then how were you part of these houses?" Minato asked. "We are in reality 18 years old," Jade said. "The how? Everything will be explained. You see, a year before I was born a prophecy was made that a boy born at the end of July will have the power to defeat him. Voldemort heard a part of the prophecy, and when I was 15 months old he came to my house, and killed my parents. The magic attack that he used was one that was basically a one-hit kill. He sent it toward me, but it didn't work. His body was destroyed and I was left with the scar on my forehead. Fast forward 14 years, at the end of our 4-year he came back," Ryu said. "My father's loyalty went to Voldemort as most of my family. I was expected to join Voldemort, but instead I chose Jade's side. And I am grateful for that." Jade smiled. "Our old headmaster left me clues to how to defeat him. We 3 and 2 others who unfortunately died managed to find them and destroy them. Few weeks ago it was the final battle, us 3 and another girl who was killed against Voldemort, my aunt and my father," said Ryu. "We divided ourselves, me against my father who I managed to kill, Mia and Ginny against my aunt. Unfortunately Ginny died," Mia said. "After her death Ryu started to fight with me and we managed to defeat her. However, we lost consciousness and Jade through we were death. While they were fighting Bellatrix I had managed to kill Voldemort. Then things started to get interesting." "What happened, Jade?" Mia asked, interested. two figures, a man and a woman, appeared. The man was Death. He told me that due to the unnecessary dead in the battle against Voldemort, he'll grant me one boom to save the life of someone and I would know when to use it. At that he looked at Minato. The woman Amaterasu told me that she would de-age us to 5 years old and that they will send us to somewhere where we should find happiness. Then they opened a portal and we passed through and we found ourselves in Konoha. Jade finished. We told the first story as it was more believable, Mia said. One final question, Minato said. The leopard. Shade is a nindu, a magical creature. It's a leopard, and it is one of the most dangerous magical creatures, said Ryu. Magical creatures are classified in categories. Categories 1 are basically boring and Category 5 are known wizard killers, Mia explained for the benefit of Minato and Kushina. In the Category 5, at least for me, there are 3 creatures that are top 3. Jade said the dragon, basilisk and nindu. The dragon is dangerous, but is the easiest to control from the 3. Yes, there is fire, but you need teams of 3 to 7 wizards depending on the species to control one dragon. Then there is the nindu. It has very sharp claws, very strong jaws, and if he chooses, its breath can be poisonous. It needs a team of at least 100 wizards to kill a nindu. Then there is the rarest and most dangerous beast of them. One so rare and very hard to control, Jade said. Oh, don't tell me. Thank your luck you have encountered all 3 of them, Mia said and groaned. Ha! What do you mean? Ryu asked. Second year, heir of Slytherin debacle, Mia finished. Oh, yeah. Wait, you have met Slytherin monster? Ryu looked at Jade with stars in his eyes. Met it, battle it, having been bit by it and survived to tell the tale, Jade said smugly. Fill us up please, Kushina said while laughing. The most dangerous creature known to wizards is the basilisk. It is a giant snake, which come to be by having a toad sitting on a chicken egg until it hatches. The male has a red feather over one of the eyes. They are very long-lived. Their poison can kill you very fast. But the most lethal weapon of the basilisk are the eyes. One look at them and the unfortunate soul is dead. Only a parselmouth or speaker of the snake language can control this snake. Only known cure from the poison are phoenix tears. Mia finished the explanation. Then how come no one died during our second year? Ryu asked. Because no one looked at it directly. The cat looked at the snake reflection due to the water. Colin Creevy looked at it with its camera. Justin looked at the basilisk through the ghost. The ghost is already death and cannot die a second time, and Mia saw the reflection through a mirror. Coincidentally, if you have both basilisk venom and phoenix tears in your blood, you're immune for life from any and all types of poison. Jade said, so I found Shade in a shady pet store in a very small cage. The owner of the place didn't know what he had and sold me the leopard cub for 10 galleons. Ouch, that would have hurt him, Ryu said. His loss my gain, as he troughed that he was a mundane animal. Well, this is our story, Jade said, and the 3 children looked at the adults. Thank you for trusting us, Kushina said. Yes, and welcome to the family. Minato smiled as well. The 3 teenagers in the bodies of 5-year-old looked at each other and smiled. They were home. Then suddenly there was a cracking sound and the last egg shattered and a small snake tongue appeared from it. The next morning Jade was sitting in front of Tsunade with Naruto in his hands. The slug Sanin had come to see the child and was smiling as he saw the small baby sleeping contently. Hello, Jade, my name is Tsunade. I am a medic and Minato wanted me to look at you after Orochimaru. Who? The small boy answered. The man who kidnapped you. Continue. The woman. I want to take some blood from you. No, Jade shouted, and Naruto started to cry as he awoke. You are not taking my blood. Everything will be fine, I promise. Tsunade tried to explain but froze as she saw the biggest cat she has even seen coming toward her with its ears down and eyes slitted. You are not taking my blood. The small boy looked at her and stood up before exiting the room as he gave the baby to Kushina, which had come to see why Naruto was crying. Tsunade, what is going on? Kushina asked the slug Sanin. I only told him that I want to take his blood to see what has been done to him and he reacted like this. Kushina, he has been through kidnapping. I don't think that the boy is safe to be around. Naruto. Tsunade hasn't noticed Minato entering the room. We have spoken with Jade and he is physically and mentally fine. If he doesn't want to be probed, then he will not be. Minato, you asked me to look at him, that is why I am trying to do. Tsunade said to him. When and if he is ready, Jade will do it. Minato said, and Tsunade left the house speechless. Minato looked toward the open back door and saw the enormous body of Shade, and next to him was Jade. He sighed and very carefully came into the backyard and sat next to the small boy. A small hiss was heard and the Hokage saw the small snake head coming from the collar of the boy then setting itself around the neck. "You have a way with snakes," he said, and Jade smiled. "I like them. Some of them are so opinionated. They can be sarcastic, funny, full of themselves, proud, cunning and patient. Thanks to Voldemort they got a bad reputation. But they are interesting," Jade said. "You know, one of the things that I took from the lab is the snake contract. If you wish, you and Ryu could sign it and you can use them as companions and protectors." Jade smiled. "It will be nice. We'll be able to protect Naruto as he grows up. As he is our little brother, he is bound to get in a lot of trouble." Minato. "Yes, Jade. From what I can get, that man was fond of experiments. I overheard him that he was obsessed with Kakashi and especially the red eye under his Hatai Tae. But there was a drawback. The chakra drain," Minato said. "He took blood from me and used some stolen blood from a clan and told me that he had managed to combine them. He then injected the combined blood into me. The pain," Jade trembled. "The pain," Minato carefully cradled him, "was immense. It felt like my body was breaking and rearranging itself, and my eyes, they felt like they were melting and then regrowing." Minato closed his eyes in horror, and was scared of the possible results and what could possibly mean for the child. He gently looked at Jade and said, "Jade, I'll ask you to do something. Can you do this for me?" "Yes," the boy answered. "I want you to concentrate and try to find your chakra. Can you do that?" Jade nodded. "Now concentrate the chakra in your eyes and when you are ready look at me." Minato held his breath and watched Jade's eyes changing from green to red with black circles inside. "The Sharingan. What has been done to me?" the boy asked. "Well, inadvertently Orochimaru gave you the best tool for you to study ninjutsu. You see, the Sharingan is known as the Copy Eye. The Uchiha, the clan with this particular blood limit, are one of the strongest clans of Konoha, and the most proud." "Why?" a voice was heard behind them and both man and boy turned and saw Mia and Ryu. "The Sharingan makes learning jutsu easy, as when you have 3 komas in the circles the user can copy the techniques that he has seen." "That's cheating," Mia said. "A person had worked so hard and then somebody comes and uses that eye to steal all the hard work." Mia, Ryu screamed and the girl stopped and looked at Jade, who had closed his eyes in shame. "Jade," Kakashi voice was heard, "while it is true that you can copy the technique, but it is not enough. You'll need to learn how much chakra you can use for a given technique and other things. The eye is a shortcut, yes, however you need to master it." "Will you help me?" Jade asked. "Sure, however there will be rules as special for your safety. The Uchiha are proud clan which guard jealously their secrets. I have a lot of trouble for an implanted Sharingan and thanks to Orochimaru you actually have it. So until you graduate from the academy and you became genin, don't use it." 1 week later, Itachi Uchiha lifted his head when the door of his classroom in the academy opened and 2 boys and a girl entered, followed by Kushina Uzumaki and the 4th Hokage himself. "Children," Soka-sensei said, "I want you to meet our 3 new students." Ryu, the blonde boy, nodded. Jade, the black-haired boy, followed his brother example. And Mia, the girl, smiled. The 3 of them live with the Hokage. "Kids, there is space next to Itachi. Itachi, can you lift your hand please?" The Uchiha heir sighed and followed the directions of the teacher, getting himself ready for a new fangirl. Then suddenly there was a commotion and the biggest leopard the Uchiha heir has even seen jumped through the open window and came to sit in the feet of Jade. Lunch finally came and Itachi prepared himself for another lunch filled with avoiding fangirls. However, to his immense surprise, no fangirl approached him as the 3 new students and their leopard was close by. "Hi," the girl said, "I am Mia and these are my brothers. The leopard is Shade and he belongs to Jade. I hope that eventually we can be friends. And don't worry, I am not a fangirl, in fact I despise them." Itachi smiled at that. 3 years later, it has been 3 years since Jade, Mia and Ryu had arrived in Konoha and they have grown in leaps and bounds. They have become closer with the Uchiha heir and Itachi was almost always found with them, to the displeasure of his fan. Closeness had led also to Naruto and Sasuke becoming closer, and the 2-3-year-old could often be found under the watchful eyes of their older siblings. However, there were dark clouds on the horizon. The Cloud Delegation. Minato was getting frustrated with the upcoming Cloud Delegation. Finally, after many years, the Raikage had gave his consent for a peace treaty between their 2 villages. Every member of the village knew the importance of this event and the clan heads were hoping that everything will be fine. The day arrived and the Cloud Delegation was presented to the Hokage family. The ambassador froze as he saw the size of Shade and looked uncertainly at his colleagues. The real mission was to kidnap the Hokage's son. But apparently this wasn't going to be possible. At least they had a second target. They would use the signing tomorrow night as a distraction while their best ninja was going to kidnap a Hyuga girl. Plan made, they went to their hotel, not noticing the eyes of Jade following them and the small node from Ryu, Mia and Itachi. It was the night on the treaty signing and Minato's frustration was growing. The ambassador wasn't even here yet and the entourage was betting nervous, as if they were waiting for something. He closed his eyes and focused on his children. He quickly located each of the seals his children wore. To his immense relief, Naruto was at home with Mia and Ryu. However, strangely, Jade's seal looked to be moving out of the village. Then he felt the pull of Jade blade and to the horror of the Cloud delegation he disappeared in a yellow flash toward Jade's signal. With the Cloud ambassador, the Cloud ninja smiled as he exited the Hyuga compound. His entourage was distracting the Hokage and all the clan heads were at a signing that never would happen. He had managed to enter the compound and kidnap an unmarked girl. What more, the girl was the heiress. Pleased with his apparent success, he left the compound, but then he froze. In front of him stood the leopard from the day before and was flanked by two black-haired children. "So Konoha send me some children," the Cloud ninja said. "Oh, how the mighty was fallen. You know, it would have been better for you if the Jonin had intercepted you," said one of the boys. "So what, 8 years old will stop me?" The ninja was laughing now. "You know this attempt can be classified as act of war. Only if I am captured." At that the ninja body flickered and disappeared. "Do Jade has his scent?" Itachi turned toward Jade. "Yes, no worries, the Cloud ninja will not escape us." The Cloud ninja had exited the village and was running toward the border when a huge mass cut his way and he dropped the sack in which his prize stood. He turned toward the perpetuated and saw the huge leopard. He could swear that the animal was a smaller version of the two tails. Then as he was distracted, he was cut by a kunai and tied with a ninja wire. "We told you that it would have been better for you if a Jonin had saw you." The voice of one of the boys from before was heard and he looked at them and to his horror he saw two pair of Sharingan looking at him. "Uchiha," he said, awed as he saw the famous bloodline limit. "Yes," one of the boys said. "What is more, one of us is the personal student of the fourth Hokage." At that the ninja froze as he saw the three-pronged kunai in one hand and in the other blue spiraling ball. The next thing he saw the kunai being thrown and passing next to his right ear. "Ha! You aim is off, child," the ninja said while smiling. "Are you sure?" The boy smiled and then there was a yellow flash. The Cloud ninja knew that he was fucked as next to the boys and the cat stood the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Minato looked around and the scene and said, "Jade report. Hi Hokage-sama. Yesterday I noticed the interest that the Cloud generation had in Naruto, and it made me really suspicious." As that guy saw Jade he froze, but then his eyes started to roam as if he was choosing his next target. "So we separated, my brother and sister stayed at our place as we often do, and me and the Uchiha, who had noticed also the strange behavior, met. We suspected that either the Uchiha or Hyuga clans would be targeted due to the Sharingan and Byakugan. The Uchiha compound was well guarded, which left the Hyuga," Minato said with icy eyes. "Yes, we surveyed the area and saw this guy appearing and carrying a burlap sack in which Hinata was." Jade made a sign and the 3-year-old girl appeared. "The enemy disappeared when he saw us, but by this time Jade had memorized his scented. We intercepted him here, tied him with ninja wire and called you. I see." Minato turned toward the prisoner. "I am sure that he will enjoy Ibiki hospitality." "Wait a minute. I am the Cloud ambassador. You cannot do anything to me," the Cloud ninja said with false bravura. "Wrong. The other boy said you were the Cloud ambassador. Now you are an enemy ninja." "Yes, and for you, village sake. I hope that the rakeage isn't on this plan. Otherwise it means war," Minato said. He approached the bound ambassador and with a nod to Jade he disappeared. A minute later he returned and took Hinata, as Itachi, Jade and Jade teleported away. Chapter 8. Danzo Shimura sat in his office in his root compound reading the progress report that his spies had given him on the black-haired son of the Hokage as well as his brother and sister. The children have come in the village 8 years ago and now all 3 of them were 13 years old. Furthermore, the black-haired boy was accompanied by a huge leopard and a dangerous snake, who was at least 8 meters, and the worst thing was that it hasn't stopped growing. There were rumors, while unconfirmed, that the black-haired boy also possessed the Sharingan. He then looked at the 4th file that showed Itachi Uchiha. The Uchiha heir was a prodigy and had managed to unlock the Sharingan 5 years ago, a little before or after the attempted kidnapping of the Hyuga heiress by the Cloud delegation. His thoughts returned to Jade and how the boy had protected numerous times the nine-tailed brat from his clutches. Doesn't no one in this village see what he was trying to do? He wanted to take the boy and train him in such a way that every nation would fear Konoha. He needed to try something to shake the rule of Minato Namikaze. He looked at Itachi file one last time and smiled. It would be a long work, but if it worked, the village would be shaken to his core and maybe he would be sitting in the Hokage seat. He just needed to plan everything carefully. Few months later, Jade lifted his head as he saw his team surrounding him. This was unusual as it was their day off. The four of them had managed to graduate at only 10 years of age, and right from the get-go they were put in Anbu as a fully functioning unit. During the Cloud incident, Ibiki has been impressed by the young shinobi and had managed to convince Minato to make them an Anbu unit under Kakashi. Mia had become the best medic ninja in the corps due to Tsunade teachings. Ryu had a way with poison thanks to Anko. Itachi could interrogate a target easily and without even the target noticing thanks to his Sharingan, and Jade could infiltrate even the most secure location. What was even rarer, the four ninjas had made contracts with creatures. Jade and Ryu with the serpents, which wasn't a small fee as Jade had Mandra respect and the obedience of the Great Snake. Itachi with the crows as they helped with his Sharingan, and Mia held the slug contract from Tsunade which would help her in healing. What is going on, Mia? Me and Ryu managed to intercept a ninja dressed as Anbu. However, he didn't have an animal mask but a blank one. He attacked us, and as you know, no Konoha Anbu attacks their own. Yes, we took this from him. Mia gave him 2 letters to read. Is the information in them true? Jade lifted his head and looked at Mia. I suspect it, Mia said. Understood. Okay, Ryu, go and tell Minato to meet us at home. Itachi, go and bring your father to our home also. Jade, what is in the 2 letters? Asked Ryu. The way to finally bring Danzo down. The boy smiled. The Namikaze residence. Minato returned home post haste with Ryu and saw to his surprise the head of the Uchiha clan there too. He met Jade's eyes and asked, Jade, what is happening? Today, Ryu and Mia intercepted a suspicious Anbu, his son said. The Anbu had a plain mask, instead of the usual ones, Mia said to the alarm of Minato. We singled Itachi and Jade and discreetly followed the ninja, Ryu said. He noticed us and attacked, Itachi said. But Konoha Anbu, started Fugaku. Don't attack each other, Minato finished. Yes, we killed him and found this 2 letters in his pockets, Jade said, and gave Minato and Fugaku the letters. We believe that the ninja was under orders to plant them, one in the Hokage tower and the other one in the Uchiha compound. Both men looked at each other and then at the letters. One was an order from the Hokage to kill all the Uchiha clan, and the other was a letter that outlined a possible rebellion plan by the Uchiha clan in the bid to take the Hokage seat. Minato, Fugaku, that is not true, the 2 men said simultaneously. Don't worry, Jade said. Present those notes to the consul and they'll know that they were fake, Jade said. While the boys were bringing you, me and Mia snuck into Danzo place and took a document with a copy of his writing. The boy gave the simple to his father and smiled. With that, Danzo is finished. 2 days later, the consul chambers. Shikaku Nara looked at the consul chambers and wondered why Minato had called it. The 4th Hokage wasn't a person to call the consul together often, and when he called it usually was something big. He noticed a team of 4 Anbu entering the room and one of them doing a strange sign as the door closed. The Nara felt a subtle wave of chakra passing through the room and Minato nodded at the Anbu team. His attention turned toward Minato as the 4th Hokage spoke. We are all here today, as a team of Anbu had brought me information about treason to the highest degree. Danzo smiled. His plan had worked. Who is responsible for this treason? The old man asked. I am glad you asked. Danzo. Minato said the treason was committed by you. At that the whole room stilled for a moment, then the shouting started. Minato, what do you mean? Sarutobi asked. These documents were seized from an Anbu that attacked the team that intercepted it. Now before you all start to criticize that Anbu doesn't attack each other. However, this Anbu was different. He didn't have an animal mask but a blank one. Konoha Anbu all have animal masks? Shikaku asked. Yes. So that team intercepted that faceless Anbu, killed him and took these documents. What are these documents? Hiyashi Hyuga asked. a well-forged documents about an order coming from the Hokage office about the total eradication of the Uchiha clan due to rebellion. He showed the first document, and this one is an outline for a planned rebellion by the Uchiha clan. Then why accuse me and not Fugaku? Danzo asked, and most of the council was wondering the same thing. Because this, while stamped with a Hokage seal, is not my Hokage seal, Minato said to Danzo, horror. And this is not my writing, Fugaku said, and passed around a sample of his writing to all the clan heads, to compare the writings on the second document with it. However, a team of Anbu obtained a sample of your writing, Danzo, Minato said, and showed it to the clan heads, and both writing matched. Danzo knew that the game was up and tried to teleport, but was unable. To his immense surprise, he saw Minato and Fugaku smirking and his blood ran cold. Problem? Danzo, Fugaku said. Not at all. Just a little setback, Danzo said. Soon everyone will be under my control. Everyone watched with bated breath Danzo touching his face and covered hand, and to their horror they saw the 11 implanted Sharingans in his body. Grave robber, Fukaku said. Soon everyone will be under my control, and you, Minato, will give me your son and I will mold him into the perfect weapon, Danzo said. But to his immense surprise he could not move, as Shikaku had used his clan technique and immobilized him. What? Danzo Shimura, Minato said. You are sentenced to death for high treason. How? Why my Sharingan isn't working on you? Danzo asked. The second you unveiled your stolen eyes. You were captured in a genjutsu, Minato said, and to Danzo horror, he saw 2 Anbu taking off their mask and he saw 2 pair of Sharingan looking at him. Good work, Itachi. Hi, Hokage-sama, Itachi stated. So when my sentence will be executed? Danzo said. Here and now, Minato said, and to Danzo horror he saw some movement around the legs of the Hokage's son, and his pet snake slithered around him before moving toward the old war hawk and climbing on him, its face on the level on his, and the last thing he saw in his life was the eyelid lifting up and the eyes changing color from orange to yellow. Shikaku Nara lifted off his jutsu and everybody saw how Danzo's body fell on the floor as the huge snake moved toward his owner. Hiyashi then asked the question that was on everybody's mind. How is he dead? Hokage-sama, may I explain? The Hokage black-haired son asked, and Minato nodded. My snake is very rare, and as far as I know he is the only one in existence in the elemental nations. There is differences between the male and the female, as the male has a single red feather over his eyes. At that every member of the council noticed the lack of a feather. So a female, Shikaku said. Yes, Jade nodded. The name of her kind is a basilisk, and she is even rarer as she is a natural-born one. The basilisk is very dangerous and deadly, as its weapons are its poisonous teeth and its eyes can be very dangerous. How? Asked Shikaku. Her poison can kill a man in under 2 minutes, but her most dangerous weapon is her ability to kill on sight. What? Everybody shouted. You see that her eyes are slightly orange. However, they look like this as the natural-born basilisk have a clear eyelid that stop her deadly glare. If her eyes turn yellow, then are deadly, Shikaku said, so that is why she climbed on Danzo. Huh? Sume Inuzuka asked. Many people stood behind Danzo. If the Snakehaven done that, I and few others will be dead as we would be dead. You said that it was poisonous, Tsunade said. Yes, Minato said. Do we have an antidote to it? She asked. Yes. What is it? I will not say, Jade said. The Hokage knows, so this is enough, he finished, to the displeasure of Tsunade. 4 years later, Naruto and Sasuke were exited. Today was graduation day and they have overheard that Itachi and Jade were considering to take a genin team. The 2 boys had tried multiple times to verify the information and have almost managed it few times. However, they were foiled at the last moment by some event or other. Finally, Iruka-sensei entered the room. Following him was their other teacher, Masuki-sensei. Naruto stiffened right away as he knew that this man didn't like him. And for him to be here and give the exam wasn't a good thing. The 2 boys watched carefully as the names of their classmates were called out. Finally it was Naruto's turn and he saw the encouraging smile on Sasuke's face. You'll do great. Don't worry, the black-haired boy said to his best friend, and Naruto nodded before leaving the waiting area and entering the classroom. Okay, Naruto, I want to see you use the 3 Academy Jutsu. You need to pass all 3 to get a headband, Iruka said. Naruto nodded and concentrated first on the body flicker, and he exchanged places with a chair. Then he concentrated hard, and in front of the 2 teachers stood a Kage Bunshin, and then both the original and the copy transformed into 2 black-haired men which were shirtless. Iruka looked dumbstruck at the perfect replica of Itachi and Jade as another Kage Bunshin appeared and took out a camera, and Naruto and the other copy made a pose. The flash of the camera returned Iruka to his senses and he looked at his favorite student. "Naruto, what was that?" Iruka asked. "That is blackmail material," Naruto said. "Furthermore, I have used the 3 jutsu that you wanted. I have done a clone, a transformation and replacement." "And the photo?" Iruka was scared to ask. "As I said, blackmail. I'll give a copy to Sasuke and I'll keep the original. Furthermore, do you know how many fangirls and fanboys our brothers and sister have?" Naruto said. "I am guessing a lot," Iruka said unsurely. "Yes, me and Sasuke are using this popularity to make a calendar and gain few extra spending money. So what are the results on my exam?" the blonde boy asked. "You," Iruka said. "Fail," Mizuki said. Mizuki. Iruka started. "You wanted the 3 basic jutsu," Naruto said, "the clone, the transformation and the replacement. You didn't specify with what to replace myself. You didn't specify which clone to do, and as I have more chakra than most of my classmates, my father had decided to teach me the shadow clone technique, and I have used it for a number of years now. Furthermore, you didn't specify in who to transform, so I had lots of choices. I have completed exactly what you asked of me, to the best of my ability, and have met all requirements for graduation, so you cannot fail me on only the base that you don't like me, Mizuki-sensei," Naruto said. Mizuki knew that the brat was right and had no reason not to give him his hatai tai and reluctantly gave him the headband. The white-haired man had to find another way to steal the forbidden scroll from the Hokage office. His plans to use Naruto had failed, so he himself had to try and steal it. He watched as Naruto exited the room and Sasuke entered. He knew that he didn't have any reason to deny him his headband either. Yes, he had to try to steal the forgiven scroll and try to sell it to some of Konoha enemies. Naruto and Sasuke entered the Hokage house and smiled at Kushina. Both Sasuke and Itachi lived here now as there was a huge falling out between Fugaku and his sons. "So how did it go?" Kushina asked. "We passed," Naruto said. "However, there is something that Dad need to know." "Oh, let me call him," Kushina said and sent a little chakra to the seal that she had on her body. Every member of the Namikaze family had Minato sign tattooed somewhere. Not long after, Minato appeared. "Hello, Kushina, what is it?" he asked. "Dad, we passed," Naruto said. "However, there is something that you need to know." Minato looked at his son and Naruto explained how Mizuki had tried to fail him and that he was looking disappointed when Naruto had received his headband. "Dad, Mizuki is planning something," Naruto finished. Not for long a voice was heard behind the boy and Naruto turned and saw Itachi with Jade and Rui. "The mission, Hokage-sama." Minato looked at his boys as he and Kushina considered both Itachi and Sasuke theirs and said, "Tail Mizuki, and let him do his move. If he does it, take him, if he talks about his plans, take him. Either way, Mizuki won't be a free ninja come morning." "Hi Hokage-sama." The 3 boys left the room not before hearing Naruto. "Dad, who is going to be my and Sasuke-sensei?" Mizuki smiled. This was too easy. The Hokage has gone home early today and was celebrating the Fox Brat graduation, and surprisingly there were no Anbu guarding the office tonight. Now, if Mizuki had any ounce of intelligence, he would have known that the situation was most likely a trap, but currently the Chunin was so fixated on his final goal that he never stopped to think about the situation. The moment he entered the Hokage office, it was all over for him as his eyes met the Sharingan and everything went black. When he came through, he found himself at Ibiki Tender Mercy and he gulped. Soon the interrogation department echoed with the cries of the disgraced Chunin, but no one paid them any attention. Few days later, Sasuke and Naruto were exited today. They were going to be assigned in their teams for the rest of their genin days. Soon Iruka-sensei entered the room and looked at their graduating class and smiled. He took roll call for the last time, then he started distributing the teams. Finally only the clan heirs and Sakura were left to be placed. He looked at them and started thinking. He knew that the Hokage wanted to have a new generation of Yamanaka, Nara and Akamichi team, however was it in the best interest of the teams? Ino was bossy, Shikamaru was genius but no and lazy, more like bored, and Chogi was. Well, Chogi. He knew that the 3 heirs expected to be put together. Then he looked at the other team request, the one of Kurenai. She wanted Hinata as her student, to make the girl more comfortable and sure of herself. Kiba and Shino worked well together. Kurenai wanted to make a reconnaissance team. While in theory this was a good idea, Iruka didn't want over-specialized teams. Then there was Sasuke and Naruto. Both boys worked well together, so they would stay together, but the third member of their team left was Sakura Haruno, a huge Uchiha fangirl. She adored Sasuke but hated Naruto. No, this team was doomed to failure if Sakura was put together with the boys. Decision made and prepared to risk the ire of at least one Junin, he opened his mouth and said, Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Namikaze and Hinata Hyuga. When this was announced, Hinata fainted as she was in a team with her crush and both boys bumped fists, before turning toward Hinata and helping her to come around. Team is Sakura Haruno, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka. A shriek was heard. I am not with Sasuke-ku. Iruka was sure that Sakura voice carried over the next floor. Then he looked at Kiba and saw Akamaru, Kiba Nin dog, hiding in the jacket of his master, and the boy had his hands over his ears. And was that a twitch from Shino? Iruka wasn't sure. He looked over the list and said Team 8 your sensei is Kurenai. Then he continued Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10 is Ino, Shikamaru and Choji, and your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Now you are free to go to lunch. However, be back in 2 hours to meet your sensei. Then Iruka left to see the Jonin of the new teams to explain the change he had made on the fly. With the new Jonin, Iruka entered the Hokage office where the new sensei plus the Hokage were. He looked at them and prepared for Mount Kurenai explosion. Hokage-sama, the graduates are in their new teams, Iruka said. That is good, Minato said. However, Iruka started. Yes? Minato said. I have made a change concerning the clan heirs teams. He said I will give you my reasons for it as I go. Oh, and what is it? Asuma said. The change concerned 2 of the Kanochi. Iruka said. Asuma, you have Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. The next generation of Ino Shika Cho. Minato said. Yes, the change that I have made is this. I have exchanged the places of Hinata and Sakura. What? Kurenai shouted. I specifically requested Hinata for my team. Iruka explained. Minato said before Kurenai had the chance to continue. You know that Kurenai wanted to make a reconnaissance team. Yes, and while Sakura doesn't have the Byakugan, she has an excellent chakra control which is perfect for genjutsu. She will be able to capture the target, while Kiba and Akamaru come closer to it and Shino drains the chakra. Hinata is shy around Naruto. Kurenai started. By being in the same team as Naruto, her shy nature will disappear. Iruka said, may I continue? At that, Minato nodded. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Now another reason why Sakura is with you, Kurenai, is that, to be blunt, if she is with Sasuke and Naruto, the team will be set for failure. Why? Asuma asked. Sakura and Ino are the biggest fangirls of Sasuke Uchiha. But while Ino would be able to put her feelings for Sasuke aside, due to her being from a ninja clan, she knows how serious the work of a genin is. Sakura, as you know, come from a civilian family. At that, Minato nodded. While this isn't bad per se, she has tendency to look at the world in a romantic way. She believes, basically, that if she is captured, Sasuke will drop everything to come and save her. Furthermore, she hates Naruto. This belief is dangerous, Jade said and looked at Itachi. Yes, due to this she cannot be put into a team with Sasuke and Naruto. Iruka finished. I approve of the change, Minato said to the dismay of Kurenai. But she begun. If you are her sensei Kurenai, she may live longer. Understood. Hokage-sama, the female Jonin said. However, Hinata team, is it not dangerous to put the kids together? What do you mean? Asuma asked. Well, you have Hinata with the Byakugan, Naruto who is the Hokage's son and a major powerhouse, and then you have Sasuke who has the ability to unlock the Sharingan. This team alone will be a serious target, Kurenai said. I understand your concern. Minato said. This is why we are disbanding our Anbu team for now, Jade said. Mia is the most logical of us, so she'll help from time to time your team, Asuma-sensei. At that, Asuma nodded. Ryu has excellent chakra control and good medical knowledge, so once a week he will take the girls and teach them medical jutsu. Itachi is good with genjutsu, Kurenai-sensei, and he will help your team from time to time. Kurenai nodded. And I will be helping Kakashi with his team from time to time. When we are finished with them, the kids will be some of the strongest genin that Konoha have produced. With Kakashi perpetual lateness, it is possible that you'll be the teacher of Team 7 most of the time. We'll see. I have ideas to make Kakashi be on time, Jade said as he looked at the gray-haired ninja. who even now was reading porn. With Naruto and Team 7 Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata were at Ichiraku and having lunch. Hinata was blushing all the time and couldn't believe her luck that she was in a team with Naruto. Suddenly she was returned to reality when she heard Sasuke addressing her. "Hinata, are you okay?" The boy asked. Why yes, just thinking," the girl said. "Good, because we have to talk. Naruto said me and Sasuke have suspicions who is going to be our sensei, and we will know for sure if he is late or not." "How would we know that?" Hinata asked. "Well, we have 5 options and we know that 4 on them are always on time. So if our sensei is late we will know for sure," Sasuke said. "Now, you must know something, this wasn't the real genin test," Naruto said. Hat, do you mean?" Hinata said. "This test was to decide who has the potential to become a genin," Sasuke said. "This is why only one team from 3 will pass and become genin. Now, the real genin test is always given by our jonin instructor, and whatever the test is, the end result is for the jonin to see if we can work together," Naruto said. "Now, as we mentioned, there are 5 possible choices for our jonin. If my brother or anybody of his teammates is our jonin instructor, then all beats are open for the test. However, if the jonin assigned to our team is Kakashi, then we have a possible advantage." "Such as?" Hinata asked curiously. "Well, first you need to know that Kakashi is on time. Only for serious missions. Meaning C rank and above." Naruto said he has the bad habit of arriving late for any meeting. If he tells you to be on a training ground on certain time, more than likely he will be 2 hours late. "Understood," Hinata said. "Now, if Kakashi is our jonin sensei, thus more that likely we will receive the bell test," Sasuke said. "A bell test?" Hinata said. "Yes. This bell test started with the 3rd team when he was though by the 1st and 2nd Hokage. Then the 3rd gave it to his team. Then Jiraiya gave it to his team, which consisted of my father and 2 others. Then my father gave it to his team, which Kakashi was a member, and it is possible that Kakashi give us, if it's him, the same test," Naruto said. "Now the test is designed to sow discord between the genin," Sasuke said, "as it is called the bell test. The test is like this. The prospective team of 3 is presented with 2 bells and told that 2 will pass and the other who doesn't have a bell will fail, and he or she will return to the academy. So if as this test, how do we pass it? We work as a team," Naruto said, and took 2 marbles out of his pocket. "Jade had told me that there is always a way to arrive to the end result." "What do you mean?" Hinata asked. "Here, watch this," Naruto said, and took a marble in each of his hands. Then clasped Sasuke and Hinata hands. "Now I have 2 marbles, which are standing in for the bells, however. By holding them like this, each of us has a marble," Hinata said, smiling. "Yes, by using this method, we have beaten the system," Sasuke said. "Now you must know one last thing. Each of the jonin will ask us about our dreams. Now it is possible that the jonin doesn't tell us anything about his goals, expectations or end results. If this is the case, give the minimum of information possible. Treat it like you are at interrogation. Your end result is for the interrogator to know the least amount of information regarding you and your mission. So give the littlest detail possible," Sasuke said. The 3 genin didn't know, but they were being spied upon by the Hokage, Kakashi and Jade. Both Minto and Jade were smirking at the putting Kakashi. "So your final verdict?" Kakashi the young Anbu asked. "There will be no test of any kind. Team 7 pass," Hokage-sama said. Kakashi resigned. "Leave it to me," Jade said, and disappeared 2 hours later. All of the teams have returned to the academy and Team 7 watched one by one a jonin entering the room, calling a team and exiting. Finally the only team left was Team 7, and to their big surprise Kakashi was on time for once. The jonin smirked as he saw Sasuke and Naruto trying to dispel the illusion. "Meet me at the roof," he said, and teleported. The 3 genin looked at each other and quickly left the room, their destination the roof, where to their immense surprise Kakashi wasn't alone, as Jade was there also. "What are you doing here?" Sasuke asked. "We watched you today," Jade said, "and we made a conclusion regarding your future as a team. Now you need to wait until tomorrow, and your mission is as follow. You need to retrieve 3 scrolls. Each of these scrolls will be guarded by Shade, Flare and Onyx. To complete your mission you need to have all 3 scrolls. When you have them, you'll open them. On each of them there is a part of our decision for the future of your team. The message will be revealed only if you have your 3 scrolls, understood?" "Hi," the 3 prospective genin said. "One last thing," Jade said. "Shade, Flare and Onyx will use their considerate skills to make the challenge difficult. However, neither Shade or Onyx will use their most dangerous abilities. Thus, however, doesn't make the challenge more easy. Understood. Hi Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata said and watched how Jade and Kakashi disappeared. What does that mean? Hinata asked. It means that they have made a decision regarding our team, Sasuke said. However, they want to see our abilities, so they gave us a challenge, Naruto finished. Who are Shade, Flare, and Onyx? Asked Hinata. Shade is a leopard who is bigger than he tigers in the Forest of Dead. Flare is a phoenix, and Onyx is a basilisk. A snake, Naruto said. Not long ago he battled Mandra for the leadership of the Snake Clan. Mandra. Hinata shuddered. One of the 3 legendary summoning animals. Yes, Sasuke said. Mandra was arrogant and a man-eater. Hinata shuddered, so Onyx challenged him to a fight as he knew that this was the only way. Only way for what? Hinata asked. You see, the basilisk is the most dangerous snake alive. It has killer sight if it wishes and its venom can kill in less than a minute. Naruto explained. The basilisk is known by another name also, Sasuke said. And that is? Hinata asked. The king of snakes. All snakes must obey him. Mandra didn't like that, so he attacked Onyx for the title of king of snakes and lost in under a minute, Naruto said. So what does this mean for us? Hinata asked. Well, Onyx won't use her deadly sight or venom. That, however, doesn't make her easier. The good thing is, due to her size he most likely be on the ground. Shade is a leopard and leopards are very agile, so expect him hiding in the trees or on the ground. The trickiest will be Flare, as he is permitted to use all of his abilities. One of them give him the means to travel by fire, Sasuke said. So we need to strategize, Hinata said, and the 2 boys nodded. The chapter is end here. Now we will meet with another chapter, so don't forget to subscribe our channel.